Now we know that the styling here is supposed to match the styling of our buttons. If we go to our design, the look of this is the same as the look of these. The difference is that these are links, and this is an input, a submit button. It has a different width, but everything about it is the same. If we change the background color of these buttons or adjusted the font in some way, we would want this to reflect those changes as well. So this reflects a connection between these, and we should be able to reflect that in our CSS. So for now, it feels like this actually is a button. So I think it makes sense to call this a button component and use that class. So if we go back to our HTML file, we can add the class here, button, and let's see what happens. And jump back to the browser and refresh. So we get a lot of the same things, but with a couple of differences. One is that we still have some border to the right and left, because we didn't define any borders for right and left for button in general. And then our text is gray by default, so we need to change that as well. So if we look at this, there are some of these styles that only apply to links, and there will be some that only apply to submit buttons. For example, these pseudo selectors should really only apply to links, although we can see the effect of them here as we're hovering in the browser. And the border to the right and to the left really only applies to submit buttons. So we have to weigh whether it makes sense to create subcomponents to deal with links or to deal with submit buttons, or if we should just use this one class for all of the styling. At this point, I think for me, it makes sense to merge the two, simply because it feels like it would reduce complexity at this point. But I can definitely see how creating some components would also make sense. So let's go ahead and adjust the styles here. So we have border top and border bottom set here. Let's add a border left and a border right, and we'll set these to none. And this is just for the submit buttons rather than the links. And then let's also set the default color to white. Let's save this and refresh in the browser. And now we're all synced up. Okay, so the only other difference here is the width of this. Let's measure it in the browser. So it looks like it's 472 pixels wide. So let's go back to our contact form Sass. And for the submit button, let's set the width. And we'll make this relative since it really does depend on the size of the text. So px to rem, and we'll just pass the pixel value into there. Let's refresh, and there we go.